Welcome to Listening to Paint Dry with Mike and Dan, a podcast about the art and hobby of miniature painting. I'm Mike, and today I'm flying solo again. Dan's schedule is still kind of crazy. We're going to get it all worked out and get together and record again, but as of right now, we wanted to keep the content flowing, so you're stuck with just me. Today we have a bit of a shorter episode. I'm not going to do a bunch of solo talking at all. We're going to go right into it after I make a couple quick announcements. We have our very first ever repeat guest with John McAvoy of Mini Masterworks. He's going to talk about the progress of the Studio X carrying case Kickstarter that's going on, currently funded, so that's pretty cool. He's going to talk to us about some of the things that are going on and also a new project with the miniature that will be available pretty soon. It's pretty cool. Anyways, so two announcements. Both are kind of plugs for friends of ours. First is that there are 54 raffles available at the NovaOpenFoundation.org. You can win all kinds of different miniatures or things related to miniatures. Those are up for grabs. If you go buy raffle tickets, the Nova Open could use your assistance this year. They canceled the show, and so that put them in a bit of a hole. They want to make sure that they can make some of that up. And if you could go over to the NovaOpenFoundation.org, check out the raffles, buy some tickets, you could win something totally awesome. The second thing is that a good friend of ours, a guy named Dutch Adams, has opened a gaming store in Manassas, Virginia. It's called Crimson Field Gaming, where he sells both consigned games, which means that if you have a bunch of stuff sitting around on your desk or in your boxes of shame that you want to get rid of, he can sell them for you. And he also carries a full line of Games Workshop products, and hopefully he'll be able to expand that more. So you can visit him on crimsonfieldsgaming.org or look him up on Facebook. So congratulations to Dutch, and we wish him the very, very best of success. So before we get into the interview, let me just remind y'all we can be found on Facebook and Instagram at Listening to Paint Dry. You can also send us an email at listeningtopaintdry@gmail.com. Feel free to write us about what you're working on, have any questions, something you'd like to see on the show. Honest and fair criticism, we'll take it, listen, and hopefully we can do better in the future. You can also follow us on Twitter at Dry Painting. Please like, subscribe, or follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and if you could do us a favor and leave us a good review, we would totally appreciate that. One last thing before we get into the interview, just so everybody's aware and we're transparent, neither Dan and I received any compensation from Mini Masterworks. We actually reached out to them because we were interested in the process of putting together a Kickstarter, and not ourselves doing it, but we wanted to talk to somebody about it. And just in that time period between communicating with John, we've kind of become friends. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that this is not like a paid advertisement for the Studio X. You need to make your decision with your hobby money. I personally am a backer. I think I'm backer number 45. So without further ado, we welcome back to the show John McAvoy at Mini Masterworks. Well, John, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you back. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, no problem, buddy. Glad to be here.
Well, first off, congratulations on the fully funded Kickstarter. That is absolutely amazing.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure that's a weight lifted off your chest for sure.
Yeah, huge. You know, to be brutally honest with you, yeah, it is. But I'm actually really, there's so many people involved with it. I'm just really glad it went because of all the effort that's been put into it by everybody. It's just a massive team effort, and there's a huge list of people that I've got that have helped in some way or another.
And absolutely, certainly, it seems like this has definitely got a little bit of that village of a project feel to it, you know.
Yes.
So one other thing I was going to ask you about was when you hit the funding mark, did you guys go crazy?
No. It was late. I believe it was late at night. It was kind of late at night. I think it was 10:30 or 11 o'clock, something like that. The wife was she was already in bed, and I just sat down here. I was like, it was just I was more exhausted than anything. It was just like somebody literally lifted a couple of cinder blocks off my back, and I was like, okay, I can go to bed now.
Nice.
So it was not. It was pretty much, you know, there was a few emails and a few texts and stuff, but yeah, I think everybody was just so beat up from staying up and not really sleeping. But yeah, it was really nice.
It's awesome. It's such a nice thing to see these type of projects come to fruition that are kind of a grassroots project born out of somebody with a need, feeling the need for something like a traveling case and then being able to now bring it to life. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
So one of the things I wanted to ask, so the first Kickstarter happened. A few days in, you guys decided to cancel it, and one of the things you talked about is lessons learned. So what are some of the lessons that you learned from that very first Kickstarter that helped contribute to the success of this one?
The major one was the prototype. Without a doubt, actually having a hands-on video, pictures to actually show people, because it's fairly. I mean, there's travel cases and stuff out there, but nothing like this, and at least that I know of. And so there's a lot of stuff people were wondering about, and just a rendering, a nice fancy picture of it's not going to really cut it. So we made sure we had more, we still actually, the second time here, we still didn't have as much. There were still questions that we forgot to answer or didn't think about, which fortunately the awesome backers brought up, which is nice. And we addressed them. We had the prototype here to be able to show everybody, take pictures and do all that stuff. So I would say one of the biggest things is basically having the prototype with you. If you're going to do something like this, it's definitely huge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Being able to see it in action that's a huge selling point,
Yeah. The one thing, it is 3D printed, and it's definitely it's lacking, and the doors don't fit as well as the real one will. There's some little things about it that aren't definitely aren't going to be like the real one. Real one will be nice and tight, fit well, slide together. So, and every time we use it, excuse me, we scratch it up because it's painted.
Right. I remember you saying that you needed to put a coat of paint and a varnish on it in order to. Yeah. Well, bless you. Thank you. So, and also though, I would imagine the prototype isn't in like the rugged ABS plastic either, right?
No, that's the other thing too. Is it's the ABS is going to be about 6 times stronger than this. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's still it's a couple pounds heavier even than what the ABS will be. They're the ones that get sent out. But it's it's definitely nice having it, seeing it. It's definitely not the real thing. Everybody keeps saying I can't wait for mine, and I'm sitting here going, me too.
You want to. So I'm excited today that you unlocked the cutting mats, which to me is a huge thing, because I actually, when I just went away on vacation, I actually have a couple of different cutting mats. One is like a 8.5 by 11 size sheet of paper that I use to travel with. And of course I couldn't find the damn thing before I left. So I didn't bring a mat with me to paint on. So can you talk to me a little bit about the cutting mats and how those will work? Because those replace the sliding doors, or?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Early on, we tried, once we kind of had the shape everything, and we were satisfied with the way it looked and stuff. We started looking, okay, how can we upgrade this? What can we do to make it more convenient for everybody? And we had the sliders just, okay, with somebody, when you open it up, what are you going to do with these things? Just put them on the side, mm-hmm. They'd be a nice little work area. And we came up with trying to make them mats. So we went out and we found the best hobby mats or cutting mats we could, the pro grade ones, the real nice thick ones. And we wanted to see how sturdy they were. We didn't want something that was just going to bend and be flimsy. And they're really nice. So we sent them off to the factory and told them we needed some, we were going to need some made like this, that would fit the sliders. And wasn't a problem. They sourced them and they're good to go. They're not the nicer cutting mats definitely aren't cheap.
Right. So, no, I can imagine.
Yeah. So But yeah, it's definitely something. We went about it thinking about ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
If I was at a convention, I open this thing up. What do I need? Or what's what's going to be important to me? And that's going to your buddy's house and not screwing their table up while you're trying to, do something. It's kind of nice. So we definitely decided to throw those, and we've got it all laid out already. So we were really hoping to happen.
Right. And so the next stretch goal, if I'm correct, is the 5-hour stream with Banshee, right?
That's the one I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
He's a really good guy. I've been talking to him for a while, and he's just really nice to deal with. They just had a baby, and
I saw that.
Yeah, he's super busy, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really nice to be able to do it live, and everybody can ask him questions while he's painting, and it'll just be something really nice for all the backers.
Absolutely, and it'll be certainly educational. I've had the good fortune of taking classes from him, so that's definitely a lot of education in 5 hours. So I was like, that's not that long. Within 2, it'll blow your head off, but
Yeah.
A lot of education there. And so, let me. This is one I was curious. I was actually thinking about this while I was driving out to this silly thing for my son's work. What now, with the success of the Kickstarter, does this set you up for, like, I'm not sure if there are plans to offer this in retail post the Kickstarter?
We have, I think it's right around 28 or 29 retailers now that have backed it.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got the wholesale end all set up. So yeah, we've got quite a few orders. We made it nice for them on the second go around, because we know things are pretty tight for everybody,
Right.
And for them having to, shell out all that money up front, and then, sit and wait for everything. So we just did a $30 pledge for them, and then we're going to take care of their orders and the backer kit afterwards.
Right.
So it saves them from having to put out the money for a long time. And we would have funded even sooner, because we had a decent amount of retailers in there right off the bat. They started growing pretty quick, so we did funded quicker, but we just wanted to, like I said, make things a little easier on them. So
nice. And then once the Kickstarter is done, will you guys be manufacturing these separately? Like, will this be something that maybe in a couple of years that we start seeing in stores anyways? I'm not sure if I'm phrasing this question right. Or is the Studio X a Kickstarter only project, that the only way you can really get it, absent the retailer pledges that are in there, is through the Kickstarter?
No, it'll be available all the time.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to make sure, because that also puts the urgency on to anybody listening. If they're like, I'll just wait till the Kickstarter's over and maybe next year I'll buy one. I just wanted to make sure that if it's not available, they need to get their behinds into the Kickstarter quickly,
Yeah, no, it'll be, we had planned on just keep going with it. And so a lot of the retailers contact us, and, I said, I hope this isn't just a one-off deal. We want to keep it in the store. And so we're going to just keep going with it. Oh,
nice. That way they can restock. Restocking is always a good thing, especially with something that the steam on this really, the difference between the first campaign and this campaign are really night and day. Was it a little over 72 hours you guys funded in?
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yes. A little over 72 hours. We were done.
Right, and even in the first couple of days, you had more backers than you had in the first one too, before you even funded, that's kind of crazy, man. That's awesome. That shows the fruition of your hard work, and people, team working on this. So now I'm going to ask you about some of the partnerships too. So right now, available for people are the Monument Pro Acryl paints, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so people are able to order those as an add-on, and if you want them, if you're listening to this, you need to increase your pledge size, because that'll also help us get to the next stretch goal, So, you sent me a figure of a ninja.
Oh,
Is that?
yeah.
I'm wondering where is that down the line? Because I was looking, I was just looking at that picture again, going, I
Now,
have way too many miniatures to paint. I totally need to add that.
that's not from us. That's a project that I'm working on through our studio.
Oh, that's a separate project. I apologize. I thought it was. Never
Problem.
mind.
Yeah,
No. Oh, but
that's coming up, but that's through that's through the studio.
can you talk a little bit about the other project, though? The Red Riding Hood.
Oh, sure.
I would love to
It's not,
hear a little bit more about
yeah,
that.
it's not part of the Kickstarter. We were trying to, we've been working on some sculpts for a little bit and trying to, put something really nice out. And we wanted to get it out there, and so and find out if people would be interested in it or not, because it'll be our first offering, and I wanted to make sure we just wouldn't sit on them. And so
Right.
basically, I threw some posts out and pretty much asked everybody how they liked them, and it went nuts. And unfortunately, I did it right around the time of the Kickstarter. So we were getting emails, and I was having to keep track of that as well. And it just now we printed one out, and there was a few issues with the file.
Okay.
So they're reworking the file, and I should have another one in the next week, I'm thinking. They were minor, but we wanted to make sure they were spot on. It's a really nice, a lot of detail, and we wanted to, all everything we offer, we wanted to be really nice, but we, want to show everybody before they give us money. I don't want to, take a deposit from anybody and, show and wind up, it not looking so good. So make sure everybody's happy, but it should be available in the next, or we should be taking pre-orders probably in the next 3 weeks. I'm hoping.
Okay. So what's the name of the project, and can you describe the model a little bit for me?
Oh, it's Red Hood. We wound up calling her Red Hood. It's our take on a more modern Red Hood. Basically, she's just sitting there. She basically owns the wolf now. So, and she's got her little pistol and sword, and that's about it. We threw around ideas for basically we want to tell a story. Our first one, not just to come out with just a sculpt of something, to tell a little bit of a story, and we threw some ideas around, and we weren't quite sure if sticking with the old Red Hood would quite cut it. So after looking online and seeing all the cyber stuff's getting pretty popular lately,
Right.
and so we figured we'd give her a little bit more of an edge, and a little bit of that tough look about it. And my wife is really big into painting nature, so we kind of went all out on the base. Really wanted a piece that would really stand out, and it's a little bit bigger too. The piece is 6 inches tall.
Jeez. Okay.
So,
That's huge.
Yeah, we didn't want to go with we figured with the base being so big and having so much on it, we actually wanted it to be a nice, a nice sizable piece. So, yeah.
And this will be a resin piece as well?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it'll be resin.
Yep. That's gonna be heavy in the mail for sure. Have you decided on a price point for it yet?
Yeah, we have $85, and that was one of the reasons why we put it out there. Was to make sure, because we had to do a minimum run on it, and so we wanted to make sure we weren't overstepping, in order to get it, a somewhat decent price. I'd still like to get it lower if we could order more, but
Right.
it's the same with the Studio X and everything else, So, but yeah, we got it at $85, and with it being so large, let's just say we're not killing it on it, but we're happy that everybody likes it, and we'll get it out there.
Right. It's kind of the fun. Like it just reminds me of like Tim from Ouroboros. He's like he just likes making models, and so if he makes some money off of it, it'll go to the next one. But That's really cool. So now also, Ouroboros, that actually leads me another question. Ouroboros also has two miniatures that are available as well, correct? Through the
Yes.
Kickstarter?
Yeah, we've got Slugger and Gunslinger, and you can get them separate. We've got the package with the Studio X as well. They're fantastic sculpts. He sent them to me. I think I got them like about 2 weeks ago in the mail. They just popped up, and I pulled them out. I got to tell you, they were the nicest casts I've ever had in my hand.
Mhm.
There was a couple tiny little pieces of flash like on a boot. No mold line, nothing. They were pretty much perfect and ready to assemble, with all the nice detail on them. So he definitely does a really nice job on his models.
Yeah, and I have a few of the models as well that of the past busts, and I got to tell you, they are the easiest cleanups I've ever done on any models for sure. So that's why I was bummed when the twins kind of moved off on their own. It would have been nice to package those together, but such is life, right?
Well, yeah, he wanted to get that one out, and he actually right before we started the Kickstarter, he was getting ready because they canceled one of the conventions they were going to go to, and things were going south for him, well, as everybody else, just because of the COVID and all that stuff. So
Right.
I know he wanted to get it out there, and then making him wait for us to relaunch wasn't fair, to him. So we just figured we weren't quite we couldn't give him a date right off the bat, when we were going to relaunch, and him sitting on it just wouldn't have been nice. It just wouldn't have been nice. So.
But he still provided those two awesome, and they're 75 millimeter figures, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They're real nice size too. So I was disappointed for the fact that I wanted to paint one, and I that model, kind of, it's my style.
Right.
Other than that, I have no qualms at all about the other two models. They're fantastic.
Right.
They're really nice too.
Absolutely. And so, once after the Banshee goal happens, what's the next stretch goal after that? Have you announced it yet?
Well, we're starting to have to think of some.
Okay.
Tell you the truth. We've got some other stuff in the works, but we got a color wheel and sticker pack for the next one. It's
right.
at I think 125. And then we've got a few more in the works, but we're working on it. Like the light, everybody wants the light, and oh man, I want to post it so bad, but we're dealing with the manufacturer now, and it's a really nice light, and it's not let's just say it's not cheap.
Right.
And so we're trying, let's just say we're beating them up to try and get it as good as we can. So we didn't want to just pick a light and go, oh, that fits, and then 6 months down the line we got everybody calling and just not happy with it. So
right. Well, that light's a game changer too. I imagine when that light comes out, you're going to see another spark in the Kickstarter too, because I just, even through reading through the comments on the Kickstarter and reading through them on Facebook and stuff, is that anytime they see that people see the light, it's like that just seals right. These people see the light. That's a great phrasing, right? People see the light. So it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing add-on.
It's kind of like the icing on the cake. It's nice. Like I said, I want to do it right. So we should hear back in the next day or two, I'm hoping. And then we'll just post it and see,
And also, I've seen the back and forth a bit about a travel bag as well that's potentially coming down the road.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we figure people be going in the planes and it's vacation or not just going to the hobby shop or friends, and so if you're going to be going carrying it around, lugging it around anywhere, and that and plus it'll protect the outside of the Studio X. We talked to a couple people, couple manufacturers, and we actually had to have one of the prototypes sent, which kind of it was a little bit of a bummer because we had plans for it to go around and get reviewed by everybody by now. But
Right.
they had to have it in order to, make a case. So it's basically a padded travel case. There's so slide down in it, and you can fit the light up top, and it'll zip close. It'll be all nice and sturdy and padded. And then it'll have a shoulder strap for it.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward. That's one I'm looking forward to. The light is cool, but I actually really like my travel light, so I will probably get a light with it. But I'm more like, come on, padded case. So now let me ask you this question. Post the Kickstarter, are there potential plans that you haven't gotten necessarily that you didn't want to do in the Kickstarter? Are there potential like add-ons in the future, like ways to upgrade maybe the Studio X in a year from now or something?
At this point, not. I don't think there's a whole lot more we can do with. We can't fit any more inside. We've, unless you eliminate the brush holder, I suppose. But there's only about, I'm going to say about maybe 3 inches between the sliders. Mm-hmm. 2.5 to 3 inches where the brushes sit. So there's really not a lot of stuff you can do to alter it. We've had a lot of requests to make a hard case for just carrying your models like this or something similar. Mm-hmm. So that's something we might look at, once this is, all said and done. But,
well, sure. We'll make sure you do that at the same time you do your next model too. That way, everything's all, you can keep doing everything on top of each other. You don't need any more stress, right?
I live for, I like being busy, so I do my best when I've got a lot of stuff going. So it's nice.
Now, I did see recently that you did post some stuff that you actually had worked on some models for yourself relatively recently as well. So that's a pretty good thing. I assume that's kind of all come to a stop right now. That no models for yourself, right? This as the Kickstarter's going, right?
Yeah, in between emails and everything else, I've busted a model out here or there. Right now, I'm doing the Ninja you mentioned earlier. I'm doing a giant Anubis statue for the same people, and it's about 28 inches tall.
Jeez, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a really nice, very detailed model, and so we're doing the master sculpts. So what we paint will be produced.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, that is pretty cool. And what company is making the Anubis statue?
It's Silver Fox Collectibles.
Silver Fox Collectibles. So they'll be offering a painted Anubis.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
And they got the contract for doing the DC, all the DC ones. So we'll be doing Batman, Joker, Wonder Woman, all those things.
Wow, congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting.
Well, it keeps you on your toes, all the different hands you got, like fires you got your hands in, for sure. But I know I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know that you probably have a bazillion emails just in this half an hour to respond to. But can you remind listeners one more time of the dimensions of the case?
Oh, the case is it's 8 by 8 by 13.5 or 13 and a half. So that's all closed up and ready to go. It's nice and compact. Both sides come off. It opens up in a nice little work area, so if you're going to a convention or a buddy's house, you're going to take up a small spot with it, but you're going to have a ton of stuff with you.
Nice. And one of the things you also added to it was you magnetized the shelves this time around, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was, and once again, the backers, we listened, they spoke and we listened, there's a few things that we're not able to do, but the stuff that we could do, we definitely looked into and took care of. So yeah, the magnetic shelves they're really nice. I don't know if I think I put a video out somewhere. It's floating around when we first started the campaign, and I tossed a couple of magnetized miniatures up on it and flipped it over, and so it works well. Definitely will help hold your models in place while you're running around.
Nice, very cool. Well, it seems like this it's come to fruition. A lot of lessons learned, and it sounds like this is going to be an amazing product.
I hope so.
No, you're supposed to be totally positive. Absolutely, it's an amazing project.
Oh, it'll be. The quality is definitely there. We without a doubt, we didn't skimp on anything at all. When we called the manufacturer, we went with the high end mats. We went with the best paper and sponges we could buy. We really, like I said, we went into this basically making it for ourselves. And then offering it to everybody else. So it'll be the same with the light and the carrying case. We really don't want to, since we go to the conventions, we see everybody, we're around. I don't want to see somebody in a year from now going, "Hey bud, I bought your case and I'm having problems with it." I want everybody to, be happy with what they got, and it'll last a long time.
All right, John, thank you so much for taking the time out today. And I will make sure that this episode will come out tomorrow. And so I'll put all the links. Yeah, I'm going to turn it around pretty quickly. There's Dan's schedule has been kind of crazy, so he hasn't been able to record in almost a month. And so it's just kind of been me flying solo. So,
Well, you're back.
So, but and also congratulations on being our first reoccurring guest. The first one that's ever come back, and that first time we've had somebody back. So
there you go. It's like the guys on Saturday night. This is my second visit in. Excellent.
Nice. Well, congratulations again, and for sure, I look forward to talking to you in the future, John.
Excellent, sir. I'll see you later. Thank you.
Dan and I would like to thank John McAvoy and Mini Masterworks for being on the show today. We'd like to congratulate him on the successfully funded Kickstarter, as well as the most auspicious honor of all of being the first repeat guest on Listening to Paint Dry with Mike and Dan. So thank you so much to him for his time. Also, we'll put a link to the Kickstarter in the show notes, as well as to the Red Hood miniature, which is pretty damn cool. Highly suggest you check it out. If you can either support the Kickstarter or grab one of those Red Hood miniatures while they last, that would be totally awesome. But, like we said, it's up to you to spend your hobby dollars the way you want to, and there's a lot of choices out there. So with that in mind, you can follow us on Instagram at Listening to Paint Dry, Facebook at Listening to Paint Dry, and at Twitter at Dry Painting. Like, subscribe, follow us wherever you get your podcast, and if you'd be so kind and leave us a good review and maybe hit some stars for us, we'd totally appreciate it. You can also drop us an email at listeningtopaintdry@gmail.com. Send us any comments, questions, concerns you might have about the show, something you might want to see in the future, or just to show us what you're working on. We'd love to see what other people in the community have on their painting desks. With that in mind, though, remember, in order to be better, braver, and happier painters, you just gotta chase your dreams. Until next time. Listening to Paint Dry with Mike and Dan is a production of LTPTWMD. All rights reserved. No portion of this recording may be used without the express written consent of the host. The music is Death by a Thousand Questions by Springtide. Download from the Free Music Archive on a non-commercial attribution share-alike basis. All views and opinions expressed in the show are solely the views and opinions of the person who said them. All celebrity voices, if any, were impersonated and done so poorly.